Hi, I'm Macy from Big Deal Marketing, and this is What's the Big Deal? I'm here at Landers Toyota NWA with Nigel Treat, hashtag Nigel Sells Cars. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about the car selling process and a couple tips and tricks for when you come in to buy a car.
So this is the new car building. This is where I do primarily 90% of my deals and my work. As you walk in, my desk is on the right. This is our lovely receptionist area where they'll point you in the right direction of whatever salesperson that you're looking for. We have our waiting area over here for all of our service, all of our stuff for parts, everything's over in this direction. And then you have the sales managers over here where we work the deals with. And then we have 5 finance managers. So the 5 finance managers help us get everybody in and out in a timely manner. That's why I say if I have a deal worked in advance, I like to get people in and out in an hour or less. If I don't have a deal worked in advance, then I like to still try to stick to like a 2-hour limit. I don't want people here more than that because they start to get antsy and it's irritating to you as a consumer. So I want your process to be as quick as possible because I value that.
Okay, so Nigel, what got you started selling cars?
So I worked in a factory for 13 years. I worked at a commercial store, window, wall, like storefront factory. They made big curtain walls and things like that. And after years of being there, I decided that I didn't like feeling trapped. Like I had a regular Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, you know, but it was 6 in the morning to 6 at night. But,
oh, wow.
But 60-hour-a-week factory job. And once you clocked in, you weren't allowed to leave. You couldn't go get lunch. You couldn't do anything of that nature. And I was like, man, this is just not what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I had a friend that sold motorcycles, and from motorcycles, he wound up selling cars. He's actually a general manager in an Acura store in Little Rock, and he instructed me to go sell motorcycles and learn how to do sales and see if I liked it. So I did that for a little bit. I loved what I did, and I broke my leg. So I couldn't sell motorcycles anymore because I had a broken leg. So for 3 months, I did nothing but watch videos continually on how to properly go about doing car sales. Because if I was gonna do it, I wanted to be one of the best. And I went and interviewed the day that I got put on full walking capabilities. You know, they took me off all my restrictions and stuff. I went and interviewed. I showed up at a McClarty store in Springdale and said, I think I could sell cars. Here's my resume. And I give my resume to the guy and he looks at it and he's like, management, this, that, you got college experience and this and that. And he was like, cool, you can start tomorrow. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Like I didn't realize he was just gonna like hire me on the spot. So that's what got me into cars. If you guys come back in this way, you have all of our service writers and all of our tire specialists and everything else. Tyson's the man. If y'all ever want tires and know anything about tires, Tyson will hook y'all up with what kind of tire fits the vehicle the best for performance, all of that stuff. These are our actual service writers. So these guys over here do diagnostics on like what is wrong with your vehicle, like if your brakes don't work right, or if it's got a funny sound that it's making, or a tick or anything of that nature. They help try to find out what that issue is so that they can get it addressed and fixed. Parts is on the right. So Cody, Curtis, best parts people in the world. They help with everything parts related, so everything that you would ever need to order for a Toyota. Cody will tell you if they have it, if they don't have it, and he'll usually pull a picture up on the screen too and say like, is this the exact part that you're looking for? Is this where that piece goes or whatever? Because a lot of people come in and say, hey, it's a plastic doodad that goes in this and I don't know where that screw goes. And he can pull it up and say, is this kind of what it looks like? And he could pull, like he's doing right there, up by cars, what kind of year it is, accessories. And then he can say, hey, so is this the screw that you're looking for right here? and they can say yes or no. That way they know exactly what it is that they're looking
so
for.
If they're like a visual person, then
Exactly, because not everybody, like he said, not everybody knows what one part is. It's
I'm
blue
sure
and I
you
put
get a
gas
lot
in
of
it.
It's right here.
The term thingamajig a lot.
What would you say makes your approach different than the average salesman?
I've done a lot of research on what I do. Coming from a supervisor, like leadership role in a factory for so long, it made me think of what can I do to simplify my process? What can I do to make my process as easy as I can possibly make it for you as a consumer? So you hear horror stories of people that go to a car dealership and they wait all day long, and it's test drive this, test drive that, beat me up over this payment, let's do this, let's do. It's a nightmare.
It's like Hotel
and I was
California.
like, it's like, how do I make this process as easy as I possibly can to benefit the consumer? And the first thing that I learned in the car business was ask the right questions. Questions are very important, and depending on what questions you ask, you find out how to eliminate things or add things for customers. In order to be competitive at selling, you have to know what you're selling, what your product is, how do loans work, what is somebody trying to achieve when it comes to a payment, what helps them achieve that payment, and it's all a puzzle. So you have pieces to a puzzle that you have to put together, and if you don't have all the pieces, the puzzle doesn't work. So how do you simplify the process to get all the pieces to the puzzle as quickly as possible to benefit and help somebody? So if you tell me you want a $450 payment, I'm going to do everything in my power to get you a $450 payment. Now sometimes I might have to come back to you and say, hey, it doesn't work on the sunroof and leather and heated and cooled seats that you want. Can you give some of that up? Because that payment, that vehicle, it doesn't match. I can't change math. Math is something I can't, move or anything of that nature. So what are you willing to give up to get that payment? Or can you come to the table with a little bit more? Do you have more money down? Do you have a cosigner? There's a lot of different pieces to the puzzle.
That's very interesting. How would you say that social media plays into your personalized experience that you're able to give to your customers?
It's a huge part. My posting, and it's funny because I was listening to Grant Cardone this morning, and he says, I wanted to dominate social media. So social media has always been a big thing for me. I used to be in a band. I had a lot of Facebook friends and followers, and when I started selling cars, it was like I deleted everything that I had in the past on my social media and started 100% fresh to make sure that everything was cordial, everything was business related, everything was professional. It also gives me the opportunity to add the people that I sell vehicles to, the people that I meet through BNI and networking and social media, different events, different chambers meetings, different things like that. I can add them all to my Facebook, and then if they ever see anybody, they always remember hashtag Nigel Sells Cars, and they tag me and stuff all the time. So it's a huge benefit in sales for me, but it's also a huge link to be able to make things personal. So, a lot of my customers that I sell, if you go through my Facebook, you'll see, I sold Carl and Sandy a Prius last weekend, and I posted an individual post on them, on their Prius, and she goes underneath it and comments, thank you so much, and it just makes it more personal because now she has all of her friends that see the post as well, and they're like, oh, I love that new car you got, and then it benefits me because she can say, hey, well, I got it from Nigel over at Landers, and go see him, he's great. So when it opens up, these are all cars that we have on the lot. So if one lights up, it'll light up the red light whenever I type it into the system and say that that's what I want. And it'll log me in to where it'll pop it out. And then whenever it opens up, it'll light that one key up specifically. That way I know where to get the key at. That way I don't have to sort through 500 cars or 400 cars or whatever. And then it lights up exactly where my key is. So now I know where my key is, and I can go in and pull it up or whatever. It's magic.
That's cool.
From your perspective, how has COVID-19 affected the auto industry, and how might that change the customer experience or maybe some customer expectations when they come in to buy a car from you?
So that's a great question. With COVID, the supply chain of not just vehicles, but products inside the vehicle, so speakers, interfaces, the heated seats, just the chip shortage in general, and also the supply shortage. So it didn't just slow down like the auto industry. You know, for instance, some manufacturers couldn't produce JBL speakers or whatever, you know, other stuff to put inside the vehicle. So it wasn't just that we didn't have enough chips to make the vehicles, it was we could make the vehicles, but then they didn't have a roof, you know, or whatever else. So it shortened the supply chain of how new vehicles came. So now as we get new vehicles, we know ahead of time what we're getting. So since we know ahead of time what we're getting, it makes it easier for us to pre-sell stuff. So if I know that a customer is looking for a Camry, I can find the right Camry for them and pre-sell it to them by getting a deposit or something up front. In the past, it was if I knew a customer wanted a Camry, they would come in and look at 50 Camrys that I had on the lot and say, well, I like green. I don't have a green one, but I've got a blue or a red one. You know, I've got all these different choices to pick from, and they could just kind of go down the line and pick one out. Now it's, you think about what all you want, come in, let me know what you want or what you're looking for, what your expectations are, and I try to find the absolute closest to that fit that I can, or the exact fit, you know, just depending on what it is, and then you put a deposit on it. And then these guys in these offices right here are our buyers. So Aaron, I call him 4-screen Aaron because he's got 4 screens up all the time while buying cars. And then Lucas. So they run the We Buy division. So We Buy doesn't just buy cars for us here in Rogers, they buy cars for all of the Landers South division. So we like under 100,000 miles, but we'll buy anything. But if you had a car with 70,000 miles on it and you're like, hey, I have this third car and we don't ever drive it, I just want to sell it. You bring it in, I'd introduce you to one of these guys. They go out, look at your car, drive it, pull up the market value on it, and then they'll give a value for what that vehicle would be worth. Nice. So it's pretty easy, it's simple. They're usually done in like 5-10 minutes, something of that nature.
So we are here with our Big Deal Mobile, the Big Deal Marketing Jeep, and Nigel here is going to give us an expert appraisal of this vehicle.
So to start with the appraisal, what we're going to do is we're going to walk around it. We're going to look and see if there's any scratches, dents, dings, anything like that, right? So this side, I don't really see anything that sticks out. And as we keep walking around, there's no hail damage. I'm always looking, you know, to see if there's visually any dents or specks or anything of that nature. No hail damage. There's no major damage to any of the front components. The tires are good. The tread's good on them. And then you keep walking and you look. There's no major anything on this side. You see one little dent right here. Can you see that? You can barely see it, but if you look at it from an angle, you can see it.
And so how much does that knock off?
So something that minor is easy to fix. You know, that I can fix for 50 bucks. It's not like a huge catastrophic deal. But the main thing that you're primarily looking for is, does any of the paint look off, right? Like, is this paint different colored than this paint where possibly the door's been replaced? And then you ask stories, you know, like, hey, for instance, that dent, do you know what happened here? And you're gonna say no, because you have no clue, right? So, but some people, you don't even have to say anything. You can just kind of like touch it, and they're gonna be like, oh, I was at Walmart shopping cart. I came out and it was up against my car or whatever. So as you walk around, you're checking glass, make sure there's no cracks, anything like that in the glass, any chips, anything of that nature. The front window, there's no major chips, there's no major stars or anything to where I have to replace the windshield. So what I'm gonna do as a salesman is I'll always open the car, and there's a VIN number right inside the car on this little scanner. So every time that I don't see this, especially if there's not one on the door, then I ask questions. Hey, have you had your door painted? Have you replaced your door? Because if the sticker's not there like it's supposed to be, then something's usually happened. So what I'll do is I'll get a photo, and then I'll get a photo of the mileage. And then I can input that when we get inside, and I'll give the keys to my manager, and my manager will run an appraisal on it and tell me this is what I believe that the market looks like on this specific vehicle.
Oh, okay.
It's
Very
pretty simple.
cool.
Obviously, our management team over here, we'll see if John will wave at us at least. John, wave.
Hi.
John's
How are you?
John's our assistant used car manager, so he's over right now. He's actually doing auction stuff, trying to buy vehicles in for us. But he's over helping price all the inventory that we have. Any of the Toyota dealerships, Fayetteville, Fort Smith, Joplin, we sell more volume than all of them. So they gave us a championship belt to kind of boast and brag on that, because our inventory, you know, would move a lot more cars, and a lot of it primarily had to do with COVID had market adjustments on vehicles, and we were one of the only dealerships that did not do a market adjustment. So we didn't overprice our consumers and customers. We felt that that was unfair to them. It's unfair to you to be charged more money just because we don't have the inventory. So, but this is all home.
Yeah. So where do you cook up the new car smell? Or do you cook
In
that in the back?
In detail. they actually have like cans of scent.
Oh.
So it's pretty cool.